You've been learning English the hard way this whole time. I'm serious. That textbook method? The one where you memorize grammar rules and vocabulary lists? It's making everything 5 times harder than it needs to be. What if I told you there's a shortcut that native speakers use every single day and nobody's teaching it to you? Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you speak English. Here's the truth. Most English learners spend years studying but still freeze up when they need to have a real conversation. You know what I'm talking about? You're at a coffee shop. Someone asks you a simple question and suddenly your mind goes blank. All those grammar rules you memorized? Gone. All that vocabulary? Can't remember a single word. And it's not because you're bad at English. It's because you're learning it the wrong way. I've helped thousands of people break through this exact problem, and today I'm going to share the system that makes speaking English 5 times easier. Not 5 times faster, 5 times easier. There's a difference, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that means and how to use it starting today. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you had to stop and think about grammar while speaking your native language? Never, right? You just talk. The words flow naturally. You don't pause to think, okay, is this present perfect or past simple? You just say what you want to say, but when you speak English, it's a totally different story. Your brain is doing gymnastics. You're trying to remember verb conjugations, word order, whether to use a or an, if this word needs to or for after it. It's exhausting. And while you're doing all this mental math, the conversation has already moved on. The other person is looking at you, waiting, and the pressure just keeps building. This is the problem that nobody talks about. English classes teach you to think about English, but thinking and speaking are 2 completely different skills. It's like learning to ride a bike by reading a manual. You can memorize every single detail about balance, pedaling, and steering, but until you actually get on the bike and just do it, you're not going anywhere. And here's what makes it worse. The more you study traditional grammar, the slower you speak. I know that sounds backwards. You'd think more knowledge equals better speaking, but it doesn't work that way. Every rule you learn becomes another checkpoint in your brain. Another thing to verify before you open your mouth. I see this all the time. Someone comes to me and says, I've been studying English for 10 years, but I still can't have a simple conversation. And when I listen to them try to speak, I can literally see the wheels turning in their head. They're translating from their native language. They're checking grammar rules. They're searching for the perfect word. And by the time they finish one sentence, they're mentally exhausted. The crazy part? They usually know enough English already. The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is the method. They're using their English the same way you'd use a dictionary. Looking everything up, checking everything twice, being terrified of making mistakes. That's not speaking. That's translating in slow motion. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. Confidence, or the complete lack of it. When you're constantly worried about making mistakes, you can't be confident. It's impossible. You're always second-guessing yourself, always apologizing. Sorry, my English is bad. Sorry, I don't know how to say this correctly. Stop apologizing. Your English isn't bad. Your method is bad. Native speakers make mistakes all the time, by the way. We use wrong grammar, forget words, start sentences, and then completely change direction halfway through. But we don't stop. We don't panic. We just keep talking, because we're not thinking about rules. We're thinking about communication, about getting our message across. That's the difference. So here's what we're going to fix today. We're going to take all that heavy, complicated, rule-based English learning and strip it down to what actually works. The stuff that makes speaking easy. The shortcuts, the patterns, the tricks that native speakers use automatically without even realizing it. And once you see how this works, You can't unsee it. English is about to get so much easier for you. All right, let's break this down into the actual system. 5 things that will make your English 5 times easier. And I'm not going to give you theory. I'm giving you the exact things you can start using today. This is the big one. The game changer? Native speakers don't build sentences word by word. We use chunks, pre-made phrases that we've heard and used a million times. Think about it. When you ask someone how they are, you don't think how plus are plus you. It's one chunk. How are you comes out as a single unit. This is how you need to learn English. Not word by word, chunk by chunk. Because here's the secret. About 80% of what we say in daily English is made up of these repeated chunks. We're basically using the same building blocks over and over, just rearranging them slightly. Let me give you examples. Instead of learning the word catch and then trying to figure out how to use it, learn the chunk catch up. As in, let's catch up later, or I need to catch up on sleep. Instead of learning individual words, learn I'm thinking about, I'm planning to, I was wondering if, would you mind? It depends on. These are chunks. When you use chunks, your brain doesn't have to work as hard. You're not constructing from scratch every time. You're just pulling ready-made pieces from your memory. It's like the difference between building a house brick by brick versus using prefabricated walls. Same result, but one is way easier and faster. Here's what you do. Start a list on your phone right now. Every time you hear a native speaker say something that sounds natural, write down the whole phrase, not individual words. The whole thing. To be honest, at the end of the day, I can't afford to. It's worth it. I'm used to. I'm looking forward to. Write them down exactly as you hear them. Then, and this is important, use them. Force yourself to use at least 3 chunks every day in conversations, even if it feels weird at first. Your brain needs repetition to make these automatic. After using a chunk 20 or 30 times, it becomes natural. It becomes yours. And stop worrying about understanding every single word in the chunk. You don't need to. Native speakers use phrases all the time without thinking about the individual words. How's it going? Nobody's thinking about what it refers to. It's just the phrase we use. What's up? What is up? Nothing is literally up. It doesn't matter. It's a chunk. This sounds too simple to work, but it's probably the most powerful technique I know. Find English content you actually enjoy. Could be a YouTube channel, a podcast, a TV show, doesn't matter. But here's the key. It needs to be content where people speak naturally, not news anchors reading scripts or actors in period dramas. You want real, everyday English. Now here's what you do. Watch or listen to a small section, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, then pause and repeat exactly what they said. Not reading subtitles, not looking at a transcript, just pure imitation. Copy their words, their rhythm, their intonation, even their accent if you can. Be a parrot. This feels weird at first, I get it. But this is literally how children learn their first language. They copy, they imitate. They don't analyze grammar. They just repeat what they hear until it becomes natural. And then one day, they're speaking fluently without ever opening a grammar book. When you copy like this, you're programming your brain with natural English patterns. Your mouth gets used to making those sounds. Your ear gets better at hearing the details. And most importantly, you start to internalize the rhythm of English, which is something grammar books can't teach you. Do this for 15 minutes a day. That's it. Just 15 minutes of pure imitation. In 2 weeks, you'll notice your speaking sounds more natural. In a month, you'll catch yourself using phrases you didn't even know you learned. It happens automatically because you're working with your brain's natural learning system instead of against it. The best part? This technique works while you're doing something you enjoy anyway. You're not forcing yourself to study boring textbooks. You're watching content you like and just adding this one extra step of repetition. This is where most people get stuck. They think in their native language, translate to English in their head, and then speak. That's 3 steps. 3 opportunities to mess up. 3 chances to pause awkwardly. 3 reasons to speak slowly. We need to cut out the middle step, but how do you just start thinking in English? It sounds impossible, right? Here's the trick. Start small. Really small. Don't try to think entire conversations in English. Start with narrating simple things you're doing right now, out loud, to yourself. I'm making coffee. The water is boiling. I'm pouring it into the cup. It's hot. I need to wait. Simple present tense. Basic words. You're not trying to be Shakespeare. You're just getting your brain used to forming English thoughts directly without translation. Do this throughout your day. I'm walking to the store. It's cold outside. I forgot my jacket. I'm an idiot. Keep it simple. Keep it real. Use the same basic words and structures that you know really well. The goal isn't complexity. The goal is speed and directness. After a week of narrating your daily activities, level up. Start having imaginary conversations with yourself. I'm serious. Talk to yourself in English. Practice both sides of the conversation. Hey, how are you? I'm good, thanks. How about you? Not bad. What did you do today? I worked, then I went to the gym. I know this sounds crazy, but every high-level English speaker I know has done this. Having these imaginary conversations gives you a safe space to practice without pressure, without judgment, without fear of making mistakes. And it trains your brain to think in English automatically. Eventually, and this happens naturally if you keep practicing, you'll notice English thoughts just appearing in your head. You won't force them. They'll just be there. That's when you know you're breaking free from translation mode. That's when speaking becomes 5 times easier. This might be the most important point in this entire video. Your fear of making mistakes is killing your progress. I'm not being dramatic. It's literally the biggest thing holding you back. Every time you pause to check if something is grammatically correct, you're reinforcing the idea that perfection matters more than communication. And that's wrong. Native speakers make mistakes constantly. We say, me and him went to the store, when technically it should be he and I. We mix up less and fewer. We end sentences with prepositions. We start sentences with and or but. And nobody cares. Nobody. Because the message gets across. Let me tell you something that's going to blow your mind. When you speak with small mistakes, but with confidence and fluidity, you sound better than someone who speaks with perfect grammar, but keeps stopping and correcting themselves. Because natural speech is more important than perfect speech. So here's your new rule. When you're speaking, you get 1 chance per sentence. You say it once and you move on. No stopping mid-sentence to correct yourself. No apologizing for mistakes. No, wait, sorry, just keep going. If you realize you made a mistake after the sentence is done, fine, you can clarify. But don't interrupt yourself. This does 2 things. First, it trains you to commit to your words, to trust yourself. Second, it speeds up your speaking because you're not creating these constant interruptions. You're flowing. And flow is what makes language feel easy. Here's a practice exercise. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Talk about any topic. Your day, your hobbies, your opinions on pizza, doesn't matter. But the rule is you cannot stop speaking for those 2 minutes. You have to keep going even if you make mistakes, even if you forget a word, even if you lose your train of thought. Just keep talking. This is uncomfortable at first. You'll stumble. You'll say things wrong. You'll feel foolish. Good, that's the point. You're training yourself to prioritize communication over perfection. And after doing this exercise a few times, something magical happens. You realize that even with mistakes, people understand you. And that realization is freedom. You know what native speakers do when they don't know what to say next? We use fillers.
Actually, these little words buy us time to think without creating awkward silence.
And they make our speech sound natural, not robotic. Most English learners hate fillers. They think fillers are mistakes, but they're not.
They're tools.
They're part of natural speech. When you remove all fillers and try to speak in perfect, complete sentences with no pauses, you sound like a robot. You sound unnatural. Don't do that. Learn to use fillers strategically. When you need a second to think of a word, say or like, instead of creating dead silence.
I went to the, what's it called?
The place where you buy books. The bookstore. See? The fillers kept the conversation moving. They signaled that you're still thinking, still engaged, not finished speaking. Some useful fillers for different situations. When you're thinking, let me think. How do I say this? When you're about to give your opinion, honestly, to be honest, when you're continuing a thought,
basically, when you're correcting
yourself, actually, or rather,
practice using these.
They need to become automatic. And here's a bonus. Using fillers actually makes you sound more fluent because you sound like a native speaker thinking through their thoughts, not like a student reciting memorized sentences. The trick is not to overuse them. If every other word is like or that's too much. But a few fillers per sentence, perfectly natural. Native speakers do it all the time and nobody even notices. So give yourself permission to use them. Now here's where it all comes together. The reason these 5 things make English 5 times easier isn't because they're shortcuts that let you skip learning. It's because they align with how your brain actually learns language. You're not fighting against your natural learning system anymore. You're working with it. Think about what we just covered. Chunks instead of individual words means less mental work. Copying native speakers programs your brain automatically. Thinking in English eliminates the translation delay. Accepting mistakes removes the psychological barrier. Using fillers keeps your speech flowing naturally. These aren't 5 separate techniques. They're 5 parts of one system. And when you use them all together, something incredible happens. Speaking English stops feeling like work, starts feeling natural, easy, even fun. I've seen this transformation hundreds of times. Someone comes to me struggling to put together basic sentences. They're stressed, frustrated, ready to give up. Then they start using this system, and within a few weeks they're having actual conversations. Not perfect conversations, not grammar textbook conversations.
Real conversations.
The kind where they're actually enjoying themselves instead of just trying to survive. That's what we're aiming for here. We're not trying to turn you into a professor of English linguistics. We're trying to get you to the point where you can go through your daily life using English without it being a constant battle, where you can express your thoughts, share your opinions, make jokes, tell stories, where English becomes a tool you use, not a test you're always taking. And here's the thing nobody tells you. Once you reach this point, once English becomes easy and natural, that's when your English really starts improving fast, because you're actually using it. You're practicing in real situations. You're learning from context, from mistakes, from real feedback,
not from textbooks.
So let's recap everything because this is important. 5 ways to make English 5 times easier. Number 1, learn in chunks, not individual words. Stop building from scratch every time. Use pre-made building blocks like native speakers do. Number 2, copy native speakers like a parrot. Pure imitation. Get your mouth, your ear, your brain used to natural English patterns. Number 3, think in English directly. Start small, narrate your daily activities, have conversations with yourself. Cut out the translation step completely. Number 4. Stop trying to be perfect. Mistakes don't matter if your message gets across. Flow matters more than accuracy when you're learning. Number 5. Use fillers naturally. They're not mistakes. They're tools that keep your speech flowing and buy you time to think. These 5 things work together as a system. You don't have to master all of them at once.
Start with one.
Maybe start with chunks because that one gives you results fastest. Then add another technique, then another. Build up gradually. The beautiful thing about this approach is that it compounds. Each technique makes the others easier. Using chunks gives you confidence, which makes thinking in English easier. Thinking in English reduces translation time, which makes using fillers feel more natural. Accepting mistakes reduces stress, which makes copying native speakers more effective. It all connects. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. The goal is communication. The goal is getting to the point where English feels easy, where you can express yourself without constant stress and fear. And with this system, you can get there much faster than you think. You don't need 10 more years of study. You don't need to memorize more grammar rules. You don't need expensive courses or private tutors. You just need to change your approach.
Stop learning English like it's a subject in school.
Start learning it like it's a skill you practice.
Like riding a bike.
Like cooking, like anything else you've gotten good at in your life, English can be easy. Should be easy. And now you know exactly how to make it 5 times easier starting today. The system is here. The only question is whether you're actually going to use it. If this helped you, subscribe because I drop videos like this every week that'll actually improve your English.